Welcome, family. Welcome to another show, another opportunity to hear some powerful information and listen to an interviewer, an interviewee who is a teacher of teachers. I'm talking about Grandmaster Bill McCloud, my good friend, my brother. You know, this is my family, and I have had a wonderful life with my brother here as I was coming up. And I'm just really happy to have him on. I want you to know that this is Walking with the Master, and it is about our walk with a true master, a master of masters as well. And and he's been termed a god of the martial arts. So, and you know who that is. That's Dr. Moses Powell Musa Muhammad, known to others. So, without any further delay, Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad, now known as Grandmaster Abdul Aziz Muhammad, given that name by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I'm pleased to introduce you once again to Grandmaster Bill McCloud. Welcome, my brother. How you doing?
It's a pleasure to be here as always, to see you, my brother, my family, and to be able to talk about our teacher, Dr. Moses Powell, um, who he was in terms of bringing light to the Black experience in martial arts, and how he affected so many lives uh, in the urban community with martial arts, the lives that he saved uh, through his presence coming through here, and not only um, he was from Brooklyn, but he became national and then international
That's right.
in his scope and teaching this art of Sanukas that he brought, the art of survival that he brought to the experience of all people in martial arts. He brought something that when he came along that wasn't seen before, the type of rhythm, uh, um, flow, the type of flavor that he brought that kind of reflected who we are as a people and the type of rhythm and stuff that we have as a people in our artistic expression of everything that we do. So, to say that he's a god, he was an individual. I feel that that the ancestors manifested through him to leave to leave for us, at this time that we are in, and at the time that he came along at a most auspicious time in terms of the type of social upheaval that was happening in the community at that time. This still happens now. He's still relevant. He's still
Yeah.
relevant now. He's even more relevant now at this time because he still lives and stuff. But he came along at a time where social change was all over the place as it is now, and the type of institutions that he affected at that time, from SNCC, um, the Panthers, the Muslims, and a lot of organizations that existed at that time that came to train for the type of social upheaval that was happening in the community then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate that. And the first chapter of what we are bringing on is called Roots. So I want you, Grandmaster Bill, to kind of go through your roots and how your roots is connected and tied also into Doc's roots. And just give me a little bit about that.
Well, I was in a kind of a um, when I first seen martial arts. I was connected to some people at the time Felipe Luciano, uh, Grandmaster Lumumba, uh, Carl Riley. We wasn't martial artists at that time. We was just experiencing martial arts that we seen, that we didn't have an understanding of it at that time and where it came from or what they were doing in terms of martial arts. These particular individuals came out of um, the mosque at that time in Harlem, and they displayed this level of martial arts that we thought we thought it was extremely godly, but we didn't understand where it came from and who was producing it, so forth and so on. So years later, you know, I was boxing, doing boxing, and I started practicing as a result of these brothers that I came across during this time. They introduced us to this, you know, gave us, you know, just a small taste of what was happening at that time for us to perfect later on. And so later, you know, years went by, and you know, we got went different ways, and I ran across Lumumba again at the St. George Hotel when I was in there doing some workout practicing, and you know, and I seen him out of the corner of my eye, and I said, you know, this guy looked familiar. And sure enough, we called him a different name at that time. He had a different name. He wasn't Lumumba at that time. He had a different name. Right?
Yes.
And Crazy Horse. We used to call him Crazy Horse. All right. And I seen him, and he was in there practicing. And I said, you know, I'm studying the Shotokan. And he said that he was doing jujitsu. And I said, oh, really? What is jujitsu? And he told me to grab him, and I grabbed him really strong, and he did a Nikio on me, and you know, I screamed all over the place. They heard me all outside from Nikio, and so I said, well, what is this? He told me it was jujitsu, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, you know, I need to learn this because this is more painful than these punches I'm throwing on with this karate thing and stuff, you know. So it was Lumumba who had introduced me to jujitsu, and at this particular time, he was a shodan in San Lucas, and he was also an instructor at one of the kung fu. I think it was Tiger Claw. He was doing at both system as well as jiu-jitsu, right? Because at this particular time, I think Professor V was right across the street from Moses, so he was like back and forth doing both. So he introduced me to both of those at that time. He introduced me to Sanukas, and he introduced me to jiu-jitsu.
Excellent. Yes, sir. So, tell me a little bit about the training. How was the
Oh my
training?
goodness. The training then, see, I didn't know at the time that the training was, you know, it was fierce training. So some of the brothers that was training, my situation at that time was kind of really sensitive because I had to be guarded about my associations and whereabouts and stuff. So,
Yes, sir.
so I had to like be careful who I was around. But you know, so Lumumba introduced me to Arthur Hudson, uh, Brian, Big Tony, and Butch, and we used to train like basements, rooftops, and apartments, and the training was, oh my God, the training was fierce. You know, we used to run from Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn Avenue to Prospect Park, around Prospect Park with bricks in our hands, then we would get back to the place where we was training at, and we would do horse dances and mat work and kicks and punches and throws and locks. But this went on for, it wasn't like an hour class. It went on for hours, this type of training. And the training was extremely fierce, extremely fierce. So a lot, excuse me, a lot of the brothers at that time who were training under Moses were like Hudson. The training was so intense, and these guys were so sincere in their training and believing in their training. So one of the brothers, Hudson, who he used to say that his training was so so real and so intense that he felt that he couldn't be beat, and that, you know, that he had 20 things that he did that he figured that, you know, the creator couldn't get out of. And he felt so, you know, he felt so real about it that he thought he challenged Doc. You know, he challenged Doc, you know. And so as the story goes, that, you know, him and Doc was socializing one night, and he kind of hit Doc when he wasn't looking, and Doc said, well, you know, let's go down to the school so that we can handle this here properly. And so Hudson said that, you know, when he got down to the school, he said he didn't pay any attention at the time, but when he came in, he said Doc locked the door behind him. So they went and geared up, and Hudson said, you know, like Doc was out on the Mexican Cesar, and he said, being true to who he was, he said he was probably trying to, you know, catch him when he wasn't looking. He said things went kind of bad from there. You know? He said that Doc knocked him out at least 11 times, right? Mm. He said couple of times he said he was taking such a fierce beating that he had to like fake a couple of the knockouts. He was trying to. So he said he looked up at the weapons that was there, and he said he was thinking about introducing one of the weapons into this engagement, but he said he was taking such a fierce beat that he didn't want to introduce nothing new to the fight. So, but these was the type of guys that was around that Doc produced. He was a product of Doc's production that gave him that type of confidence to feel that he could even challenge his teacher. So one time, Gene and I, we asked Doc about it, and Doc said yes, he did, you know. And Doc said he appreciated him because he said there was a few other ones around thinking about it, but Hudson was the only one that had the courage to step up to the plate and try to bat.
Right. You know, I'm sitting like on the edge of my seat, you know, because this is all wonderful stuff to hear.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, when was, do you remember the years in which that was around? Around what time? When was that? Not so much the fight, the challenge, but that time, that era.
This was the era that I'm speaking is like from 63 to 68. It was 63 is like was like a beginning and stuff for me, but around 68, I think Doc did the World Fair in 64. So this kind of happened like after that time between 64 and 68. He was creating some formidable martial artists during that time, from Soki to Sugar to Mumba. They all came out. Even before it was Sanukas, it was Self-Defense Complete, and and the he felt that the reality of what he was bringing in terms of the expression of the art was what was necessary for us as a people to be able to survive the social circumstances that was happening to us at that time. It's still
Yeah.
relevant today, you
Yes,
know.
sir. Yes, sir. Now, Grandmaster Bill, as we, move down the timeline and life is still moving now. The those who were in the dojo at that time, uh, did you at that time have persons who were passerbys? Meaning that they came and I don't know whether seminars or other kind of situations, or were they all students that were under the tutelage on a constant basis?
Well, during the time that I'm speaking about, and the reality, when I met these guys, right, I thought that they didn't like me because the training it was just a beat down. And so one of the things that Hudson used to say, he said, Bill, you got to come and train with me so I can teach you how to take this button whipping, you know? So, I was like, I didn't understand that at that time. And the type of these guys at this time, to be around them, this is to be around Doc, period. You took a legitimate golden butt whipping all the time.
Hmm.
It wasn't like it is now where you faked that you was hitting the person. No, it was live contact all the time, and a lot of people was offended by it. They would come and they would try it, but they wouldn't come back. They wouldn't come back. You know,
Right.
only the only the serious people stayed and stuff like yourself. Your stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it was really rough being around these guys, because these guys were they would challenge whatever position that you claimed to be, that you said that who you were at that time. You
Yes,
couldn't be around them. You couldn't fake the funk. You had to legitimately be about who you say you were. You know,
mm, yes,
like
yeah.
Soki, because you had Soki in there. You had Soki in there, and I don't have to tell you. Soki were like, all right, if you said that you were this, let's do this thing here. Come on the thing. This is what you do.
That's right.
Show me who you say you are.
Yes, yeah. And I honestly have to say, because I came in so young, I didn't know I was really getting beat up like that. I thought that's what was supposed to happen.
Like,
so so I just continued because I just thought that's just what was supposed to go on, and that was what I was supposed to feel, and that's really how it was for me. And but I do understand what you're saying, especially since we've gone all these number of years up until now, and we see where people are today and not being anywhere near taking that kind of punishment, which was, we term it punishment, but it was really a training that was on another level. So, yeah, I got
I
you.
think you spoke before about people who, um, you know, we were day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, uh, around Doc,
Yes.
and he was a phenomenal, unique spirit in terms of who he was as an artist and as a human being. And a lot of these guys who came along, they knew him from, you know, showing up at seminars that workshops that he did all over the place, all over the country. And a lot of them, because of, I feel, what he brought to the martial art arena at that time, wanted to identify with something as strong as that. You know, they wanted to be connected with this type of war mentality. And there's a difference between the aesthetic appreciation of the art that was done in tournaments and what he brought to the table, because he was special operations. He was
Yes.
Delta. He was a general in terms of the art of survival that he brought to the table.
Yes.
And as you know, it with yourself, you participate in tournaments, so it's okay. But you know, Doc was one of the guys. He was a real soldier. He had his focus was on the survival of his people.
Yes.
You know, more so than you know, trinkets and plaques and trophies and that type of thing. You know, so
Yeah.
those who, you know, on a day-to-day basis, he was like, you don't want to be there all the time. You know what I'm saying? Depending on his disposition at the moment, you know, and those who claim, you know, to be those type of things, as you know yourself, you had to, you know, you may didn't want to take them beatings on a day-to-day basis. You know, I remember, G, sometimes, you know, at World Collides,
Yes, sir.
when Professor V would show up, and I would come up and get you, and you would say, "I'll be down in a minute," and the minute don't hit, because you knew the level of intensity that was happening,
That's right.
and yeah, it was like it was like fierce, and this was like, we did this like from the time the dojo opened in the morning until it closed at night. 7
That's right.
days a week, 30 days a month, year to year, you
That's
know.
right.
And a lot of the guys who claim was never there when we was there. I don't know, you know. They claimed they wasn't there when we was there. I didn't see them anyway, you know. I wear glasses. Now you wear glasses. You should see better. So,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, so you know, so Doc was like, you know, I honor him beyond what words can express, because I am who I am because of what he brought in terms of martial arts to the arena, and those that the real ones that he created, and those, they know who they are in terms of being around him and who he were, you know. And you know, he's like somebody, when you've been in the trenches with someone, you see the spirit of who they are, you know, and under these type of circumstances. And he was that type of soldier and stuff. You know, even mentioning some of the ones that he produced, like Lewis and those guys. You know, these were products of his. These were the real cats. You didn't hear about Lewis at a tournament. You never heard about him at a tournament, but you heard about
Mhm.
Lewis. And
Right.
he brought a different reality for those who understand what I'm saying. You know, he brought a different reality, but he was a product that Moses produced,
That's right.
and he was you know, he was a gatekeeper for the community. You know,
Yes.
he was one who watched over. He was a sentinel that stood at the gate. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
you know, and these was the type of unsung soldiers that that Doc produced. He had so many different facets to who he was as a human being. You know, and you have to honor all of them, because all of them was Doc. You know.
Yeah. Yes. And Grandmaster, let me say that when they say, I used to have uh, some trouble with those who had very limited contact with Doc. Um, but now I understand, that see, he is so blessed. Doc, that is, was such a powerful individual and such a wise individual as it relates to this art, that if he touched you a little, he and put a drop of blood in you, you can call yourself and recognize yourself as one of his. You know how they say, if you got a drop of black blood in you,
Yeah, yeah,
no matter what you look like, you are a black person, okay? Because you got that in you. So I see that. But what do you think about those who don't consider those who have paid those old prices, which were the most painful of prices, and lived all the way through that and not have the proper respect or honor? What do you think about that?
well, it's martial arts is a paramilitary organization, and you got to honor that for what it is. That means that um, you know uh, if you have generals, um, that you can't get in front of the generals, you can't get in front of the colonels. You can't have a lieutenant that gets in front of a colonel. You can't have a captain that gets in front of the colonel. So those who are first are first. You always it's like ancestry. You always honor those who came before you. It's the natural order of things to honor those who came before you, and to recognize where your place. It's like, okay, if you it's just what you just described as having. So you got, like, you know you may be a distant relative, but you can still be a relative. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? You may not be, it may not be your biological, you know what I'm saying? But there's adaptations and all that type of thing and stuff, but recognize that or just honor that, you know?
Yes,
And as long as that you are as long as you recognize that you're first, there's only a few that's left from the first that Doc produced. And, like, you want to be able just to honor the fact that you still can find first. It's like, you start out in the beginning, and you say, in the beginning it was, um, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and you started, and then by the time it gets down to the hundreds, it's going to have a different type of thing that they was talking about, Peter and the peppers and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So so
absolutely.
so you want to, like, if you want to get what is, you want to try to get close as you can to the original, so that you can have some type of legitimacy in terms of having an understanding what was originally founded and set in motion stuff.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And respecting your elders doesn't take anything from you, does it?
No, not even a little bit. It just
Right.
it's honest who you are, and you understand. It's just like understanding your ancestry. You still you. I don't care. You're a Grandmaster Abdul Aziz, but you still your mother's and your father's child.
That's right.
You
That's
know what
right.
I'm saying? You can
That's
never
right.
take that position. You can't take that position. You know. So,
Yes,
and
sir.
I think that we need to, like, understand that, and you know just for the to make whatever it is that we do legitimate, and people who look on to see that people understand, you know, that type of legitimacy in terms of recognizing who's first.
Yes. I want to shift gears a little bit, Grandmaster Bill, and really talk to some of these students, students that we have, students that are out there listening to you right now. Let's just talk to the student. Let's go to the student who just came in the dojo, and they see that there are difficulties, you know, in terms of training. When I say difficulty, not that it's difficult, but there is a lot of pressure. There is that pushing them to be what you know they can be, but they may not know it themselves. So I want you to kind of give me a little talk to us online right now, as we are all students. Make me to want to stay here and continue to work out.
Well, you know, one of the things is that in building an edifice, you have to have a strong foundation. Otherwise, whatever you build on top of anything that's not founded is going to wither, it's going to fall, it's going to tilt over. So, coming into the dojo, you want to understand concepts, principles, philosophy, and then the drills that give you the foundation to build on top of. So, the once you understand, so in talking about sanukas, right? There's different levels of philosophical appreciation, understanding the mindset that governs the application of these tools that you are receiving. So as a beginner, you learn at a particular level. You reach a person on the level that they are on until they're able to get to the level. First, you start off just like how you come in. You start off eating applesauce till you can, bite the apple. So you learn at these different degrees and stuff. So you everything is basic. Professor V said there's no such a thing as an advanced technique. It's only a combination of basics. So how well you understand and learn the basics. There's a basic lock, there's a basic throw, there's a basic choke, there's a basic sweep, there's a basic punch, there's a basic kick. After a while, you become proficient at these fundamentals that you can apply them in all types of scenarios, regardless of what the scenario happened to be. And then it's not these tools, it's who it is that's using these tools later on that makes the tools formidable or not. It's who it is that has these tools that they use them, and they understand that these concept principles and the philosophy that governs what it is, who it is that you are, and what it is that you're doing.
Great, great. Thank you, and I'm sure a number of students out there appreciate that from you. Let me ask you another question here, and to bring you to some of the students that have been around you. Let's go into the black belt arena or the brown belt. So just those who have committed themselves for a while, but we're experiencing different things. A person experiences something in life. Let me mention this. I had I have a young student, but he was a young man at the time, and he was just getting his black belt, and he was still really very young. Uh, and I said to him, I said, I'm giving you this rank because you were able to accomplish it. I said, but there is still a level of maturity that you have to accomplish. So I said, this belt is actually both yours and your father's. I said, because you haven't been tested with girlfriends and still coming to class, work and other things and still come to class. So I said, until you can do that, uh, you can't own this belt alone. So we the whole point in that is that to say that will you still be coming to class like you should be when you have to bring yourself, and you don't have a father to do that for you, a mother to do that for you. So will you come to class? Now that was a young man, but we have older students that seem to find their way away from you. So I want to ask you about that. What do you have to say about those students who do not come out as you feel they should come out to help you and aid you in developing and passing on this information to others?
I think that one of the things I have strong feelings about this because what you offer a person is life. When they come in, you're giving them life. One of the serious things that I feel that you're learning to master when you come inside of the dojo, besides the physical stuff, is the use and the application of the spirit that's in you, that's breath. So when a person, when this person comes in and the person has to have a deep understanding or not of the time that it takes for you to bring him from gross to sublime, from from
Mm.
from when he came in and he didn't know what a rollout was, he didn't know how to posture and stand. It took time out of your life for you to mold this individual to be able to get to the point where he has a functioning understanding of the basics. Because he's a black belt, he just have a functioning understanding of the basics. He just arrived at where you can begin to teach him now. And if he don't understand the necessity of coming back to get the full package that you have to offer, then he really don't understand those fundamentals that you laid into him. His appreciation of the fact that 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 the lack of appreciation that he have for the time that you put into him to bring him to where he's at.
Mm.
That's golden. Really,
Yes,
there's not enough money that he could paid you for the time that you took out of your life to make sure that he had these fundamentals.
yes,
So this is the thing. Getting back to our teacher again, he in the beginning he laid such a strong foundation in those beginners, the ones in the beginning. When he started, he laid such a strong foundation that the ones who are still standing now, like Soki, like Lumumba, and Lumumba's another story. That's a story for another day, because
yes,
everybody didn't think he would be here this long, but he is, and now he's doing Tai Chi, and he just bought two cockatoos. I seen him on the thing. He bought two cockatoos, and he's gardening. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You have to know who this individual was to appreciate that. He's
yes.
that because of what was put into him, because he had the background that we seen in the beginning and what Moses put into him to carry him all the way this far. So when you get these individuals that you have invested your time and your life, you're not just giving them a technique.
Come on.
You're giving them a part of your life.
That's right.
You're teaching him how to access, how to utilize this energy force inside of him, breath. You're teaching them how to breathe. Because, and I'm sure the workouts that, that we do, right? If you can't breathe, you out of there anyway. you it's you're talking about cardio. It's the cardio is crazy. If you can't breathe through that, you out of there anyway. So you are taught all of these things, and so when you arrive at a level, so one of the things, your ego is not your amigo, right?
Mm,
So when you arrive at the level that I this is why I have such disdain for people that I felt that disrespected my teacher, because I'm
mm.
the same way about my father. You know, it's and you know this, G. You know, like sometimes I use the Queen's English kind of crazy, but I never did that in front of my father. Understand? Because it was
I
a
gotta
thing.
say, you're doing well. I
Yeah,
gotta say,
it's
you're
it's
doing real good.
yeah. It's a thing of respect and stuff that you
Yes,
have and stuff. So when all of the time that you have produced these ones who don't understand what the time that you took away from out of your life, not out of your life, your family, the time that you took to spend with them to correct them.
yes.
Man, I miss it. I remember Doc telling me one time I was doing something and I thought it was like, he said, Bill, you just put that together? I said, yeah. And he said, first of all, you're standing too tall. That's a correction. You know how golden that is? You,
Yes.
you standing too tall. And turn around, let me see you do it from the back. you know? So so give do give a person to critique them, to tell them that
Beautiful.
something that they're doing is not correct and doing it a better way. How much money is that worth?
Mm, mm, mm.
And so one of the things that we have to do, I feel, as a people, we have to give back to our community. We have to give back to those who have given to us and this thing and stuff. So like I feel that as long as there's breath in me, I will always mention the name of Dr. Moses Powell, because he was, you
That's
know.
right.
And if I
That's right.
if I'm tall because I'm standing on his back. I'm
Come
standing
on,
on
man.
the back of the stuff that he left here, you know. So likewise, if you're in a situation where, and it happens to us, and it's hurtful, and I know it's hurtful because we done seen it along this journey. That
Yes,
those
sir.
that you invested so much into, right, and they think that this little black belt that you're giving them,
Mm,
it don't have the meaning of all of the time that you put into it them to get that. You know, so
right,
I'm strong about that, G. You know,
man. Yes, sir. And as we winding down, because listen, I haven't even gotten into this is half of where I want to go. So we're going to be bringing you back on so that we can talk about some more, because we got to go up the tree. We got to go into the branches that have come out and whatnot. But we will, get on that by God's grace on our next interview, which will be very soon, of course, because I want you to know, this is our platform to be able to have the dialogue that we need to have for all of the students, all of those who want to know something about Doc, know something about Soke Little John Davis, know something about us. This
yeah,
is that platform for them to come on in and enjoy and sit on down and listen and also participate. You see,
yeah,
so I definitely will. I want to let you know that we will have you on again very, very soon, and definitely appreciate you. But lastly, what I want to ask you is, uh, in terms of you mentioned and you talked about this. the dojo and how it is for the betterment of people. It's about our communities and whatnot. You hear about the churches, and I've heard some associate the church to the people as well. I should say the dojo to the people, like the church to the people. So, what would you say about that? How would you say the dojo is supposed to interact with our community?
Well, I think that the dojo is. I think we have to redefine this place where we come for the development and the cultivation of the self. The self. This is, you're just not teaching concept, principles, philosophy, drills. The physical part is the end part, but you're developing the character of the individual who's going to be using this stuff. So when they come into you may not call it a mosque, but it's a temple where they come to learn,
That's
right?
right.
It's the intangible that operates through the tangible. It's the intangible. It's like you have to lay principles inside of whoever it is that's driving this vehicle, that they're learning, that they're, from the techniques and stuff that they're learning inside of the dojo. So when they come in, particularly for the children, it's the best place. It's the best place for the children to be, our children to be inside of the dojo, because they're learning to get in touch with the physical aspect of their being, and to be able to, the thing that you learn inside of the dojo, you learn how to challenge your boundaries.
Mm.
We all got boundaries, right? So and it gives you confidence each time that you conquer a boundary that you were standing behind before you came in the dojo. Maybe you came in the dojo and you can only do 8 push-ups, but now you can do 5 push-ups. That's an accomplishment that you
Yes.
get learned inside of the dojo. Then you learn who it is that was doing the 5 push-ups. So I remember Professor V would do, he would have you doing stuff, man. He would take you to the brinks of the abyss. And you know that you didn't have no more and you was about to give up. And he would say, okay, just give me 2 more. And for some place, you found those 2 that you knew that you didn't have.
Right. Right.
So these are boundaries that, through the guidance of instructors that carry you through, that make you a better person, a better being. So dojo is like, it's the way we use it somebody else, but it's actually a temple where you come for self-cultivation.
Beautiful. 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 I wanna thank you, Grandmaster Bill, for being today's guest. Actually, today's
My
teacher.
pleasure.
And I appreciate you tremendously, and thank you very much. Is there any last words that you like to say today?
I just want to add on to the point what I was just telling you about with the boundaries and stuff, because I remember we was at one of those times when you finally came downstairs to one of the Professor D's class. I was really so happy to see you, and
Yes, sir.
and you just happened to be the uke. I may have pushed you up to be the uke, and he had your finger in such a position, and like I could see the pain on your face, so I was crying for you.
Yes, sir.
Tears was rolling down my eyes. I said, "Oh my goodness!" But he carried you all the way to a level of pain that's indescribable. And you,
That's
a
right.
person would have to be there to see that, to see the reaction that you had at that particular time. But I'm sure you remember it, my brother.
Oh, I not only remember it, I still feel it. I mean, anytime my thought goes back there, the pain comes right back. So, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
it's been a blessing, man. I enjoyed it, G. Anytime, man. Please.
Man, thank you. Thank you. We're going to, this is a beautiful opportunity to, again, share what you and what we have with the world. And we want to invite them to be a part of this world. And with some of the material that you're going to actually see and have seen while we've been talking, this is the kind of thing that you can actually come to. But what I want you to do, everybody to do now, is I want you to actually subscribe. I want you to go to and make sure that you visit the official Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad channel. Okay, the official Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad channel, and you're going to find on our channel Master Bill McCloud doing his thing. You're going to find Soke doing his thing. You're going to find other masters also doing their thing and being able to hear from them. So, there's a martial arts of the body, but there's absolutely a martial arts of the mind. And you're going to get a chance to feel and hear their mind as you have heard today. So I really, really, again, appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you on our next show. Don't you miss it. In fact, tell somebody else about it, how you enjoyed it, and let us know. Also, let us know your feedback. Give us your comments on how it went. Again, we appreciate you. We love you, and us.
Big lamb, truck slam, popping them straps out final call. Tossing giants out of sacred land, stretch them out like China wall. Say no to we 100, Joshua with no riffraff. Along or open that Red Sea, so Elijah floated up in Ave. In D.C., I'm Salaudin, swinging sword in Jerusalem. Walking heavy in Jericho, enemy he not used to them. Mama Mia, no Jahiliya, just holy war, we killing this. Cold feet on that battlefield, gon' get you left in that wilderness.
10 toes down. I plant my flag in the ground. Call my soldiers to Jerusalem. We about to take the town. Farrakhan is Elijah. Minister